Let's see, we're wrapping up the July series today. I titled it 2020 Vision, and we've been exploring how it is that we can see the sacred in all of the practical ways in our life and all the sort of human part of our experience. Today, we're going to be looking at how that sacredness shows up in terms of community, how and by our participation in community, but by our interaction, connection in community, and not just this community, but the communities, the different communities that we all experience. How we first sort of see the sacred in that, and also, and I think more importantly in this time and day, how we actually can expand and deepen our experience of the sacred in that context of community. So I want to start out with the practical application. Part of what we've been doing virtually is like, and usually it's when Reverend Christina and I are both serving in the same Sunday, and she would come in and do a practical application. But I'm going to do that up front here because I think it's something we can do throughout the service here. And I've already referenced it if you were on early. But, you know, I know we've been on this Zoom stuff for a while and maybe getting kind of a little bit of Zoom fatigue. But I think there's a way that we can sort of up the level of participation and up the level of energy that we invest in our Sunday experience. And that's through the chat stream. Those of you who have the chat stream open already, you're seeing prayer requests, you're seeing some comments along the way. But there's another feature that I would love for you to play with over the course of the service. You remember back in school, maybe in grade school, when you were sitting in rows of desks and you'd write a secret note and you'd pass it across the room to somebody else when they'd read it? That's kind of like what the private chat feature is in Zoom. And that's what I want to encourage you to kind of do. Like, you know, the teacher's up talking and yeah, so I'm the teacher talking and I'm giving you permission now to sort of distract yourself or maybe enhance your experience. Just go ahead and if you're in the speaker view, you only see a few up there. But if you're in the gallery view, you can see everybody who's logged on right now. And there may be some folks there that you haven't talked to in months. So I suggest that you go ahead in that private chat feature. There's just a little caret by the word everyone in the chat, right above the chat stream box. You click on that and there'll be a drop-down menu that shows everybody who's logged on. So I invite you to look through that list, see who you know, maybe see who you don't, and introduce yourself. And just over the course of this, let's see if we can't create some greater connection, some greater sense of community, just while we're still in this virtual experience. Because we're going to be doing this for a while, the foreseeable future. So I think the more ways that we use this technology to our advantage, then the deeper our connection can be and the more powerful this Sunday experience can be. So feel free, play with that chat function and say hello to some folks you haven't seen before. Maybe you can even, okay, this is the last thing I'll say and then we'll move on to the actual talk. I would be comfortable sharing my email address and my phone number if I wanted to connect with someone offline. That part of the chat stream is not recorded. I sure wouldn't put my bank account number in. I wouldn't go that far. But I think it's safe enough and confidential enough that you can share a phone number and an email address, or at least I would be comfortable with that. So use that as an opportunity to deepen our connection and to maybe renew and reconnect with either people you don't know or people that you haven't seen in a while. All right, so that's the practical application for today. Building community is really about staying connected and creating conversation and finding some shared experience. So go ahead and create that with that chat stream. All right, so what I want to talk about, I'm basically going to propose 3 questions to you in my talk this morning. And the questions really arise out of a book by Reverend Wendy Craig Purcell out of Unity Church of Today in San Diego. The book is called Ask Yourself This. And she has 3 questions that I think are a beautiful way to sort of look at how we can deepen and broaden our connection to community, but particularly in the spiritual context. We can bring a greater practice of the spiritual principles that we know. We can bring a greater demonstration of the spiritual truth that we believe into our community interactions. So those are sort of the 3 places I'm going to go. And before I get to the 3 questions, kind of in the interest of practicing what I preach, I'm going to do a little bit of a diversion here. I want to share with you all that at the beginning of this month, over the 4th of July weekend, that I contracted COVID-19. So I had a few days of some pretty rough symptoms That passed, and I went and got tested, and I've been through all of that process too. I was very careful about observing the recommendations, and as near as I can tell in contacting people that I did come in contact with before I actually took on symptoms, as near as I can tell, I did not pass the virus on to anyone, so I'm relieved about that. But the reason I share it is, one, I want to practice what I preach, like what I say about being in integrity, what I say about having courageous and vulnerable conversations. And I think there's also a capacity for greater good. You know, I think by my sharing this, I will be writing a blog about it, which will reach folks in Texas and Florida, and I have followers who are in some of the areas of the country where there's still that energy about this thing is a hoax. I think sometimes it helps to like know or have a personal connection to someone who can say, I know from personal experience that it's not. So that's one of the reasons that I want to share it more broadly. I also think that in my own experience of it, part of it was sort of feeling ashamed and some guilt and some stigma around it. And so I think those of us who can speak out from a first person kind of context can help to overcome the stigma. It's a virus, it's not selective. I think it's a reminder that we all need to stay vigilant about wearing masks and social distancing and to be washing our hands. That's all still important. It was easy for me. In fact, I know that's kind of how I contracted it, is I got sloppy with those practices in meeting a friend I hadn't seen in a while. So just a reminder to stay vigilant. It's all of us, it's up to all of us to make sure that we do everything we can to move us through this virus as quickly as possible. And then the third reason I wanted to share is because, especially for our community, we lost our beloved Hecky Powell, who died as a result of contracting COVID-19. And so I think it's also helped to know that that's not the full story, that there are others of us who were able to recover, who had much milder symptoms. So we don't need to be maybe quite as fearful as that. So those are the three pieces that I just wanted to share. I want to kind of be done with that. I don't know exactly how that relates to community, other than maybe it's a way in which we can find some compassion within our own hearts and some understanding for one another as we move through this. So that's as good as I could get in terms of a community hook for my talk. So let's now get sort of back to the subject at hand, the topic at hand. The first question that I want to pose that comes out of Wendy Craig Purcell's book is, will you practice drawing your circle wider? As we want to broaden and deepen our connection within community, I think it's helpful to really look at how we can increase our reach in community, right? There's a wonderful story that she shares in the book. I thought I had the book here, but it's at work, so I'm just going to have to give you the Cliff's Notes version. So there was I can't think of the word, Catholic and Protestant. There was a Protestant chaplain and a Catholic priest who served together during World War II. And after their service ended, they stayed very connected and were very close for many years. And then eventually the chaplain actually passed away, he died. And not having any family, the Catholic priest wanted him to be buried at the parish where he served. There was a cemetery there. And so he had asked permission from the authorities in the Protestant denomination and was granted permission to do that. But when he asked the Catholic Church about it, the diocese there, they refused. They declined for that burial to take place because the chaplain wasn't Catholic. And so the priest, not wanting to jeopardize his position or cause some great controversy between his parish and the diocese, what he did instead was he had the body buried just outside the fence of the cemetery. And a couple of years later, one of the soldiers who had served with the chaplain stopped by to visit and pay his last respects. And so he went to see the priest and he said, where is the burial ground? Where is the grave? And so the priest took him to the grave, and the soldier was thrilled. He said, I see it's now inside the fence. You must have got permission from the Catholic Church. That's wonderful. And the Catholic priest kind of smiled and he said, well, not exactly. I was told where I could not bury the body. They never told me I couldn't move the fence. So I think that speaks to us. You know, there are, in this culture, in this society, there are fences and walls that even subliminally and unconsciously we draw around the communities that we're a part of, that we share in. The most obvious of those clearly is around race right now in this country. And there are ways in which I think we're invited to look deeply at how we might be drawing those lines, to look deeply about how otherness, and I'm talking about all kinds of otherness, LGBTQI, those who have been disenfranchised, those who are differently abled, those who even gender differences. There are all sorts of ways in which there are unconscious and subconscious line we draw. And the first question, so this first question I have is to, will you be kind of proactive into drawing a wider circle, into extending yourself beyond the folks who are already in your circle and who maybe are not being included in your circle of friends in your community? So the second question that arises out of that book, ask yourself this, asks if you're willing to look at who's missing from your circle. And it's kind of the same thing, but in this question, I'm really asking us to go a little bit more deeply than just kind of expanding our circle and extending ourselves out. But it's really looking at where we and with whom we share deep and trusting friendships, right? And to look at where we might be holding ourselves back, really. And in terms of race, I would say the onus of this really needs to be on white people. And I'll tell you why. It's largely because as a white person, we really don't think about race in any sort of deep way, deep systemic way. Because we're in the dominant culture, we take for granted the ways in which our race, our whiteness, has affected the opportunities that are available to us, has affected the schools that were available to us, has affected the choices that we have to make, has affected oh my gosh, so many things, the attitudes that we hold, the beliefs that we hold about otherness. And we don't really think about that because it's just assumed when we're in the dominant culture. So my invitation to the white folks, as we start to think about our own circles and deepening our connection and expanding the level of trust that we experience in those communities and with those people, my invitation to white people is to start to be willing to engage in a conversation with someone of color or someone who is other than you already know, that's specifically about race. If you haven't done that before, it's an opportunity to deepen that friendship and add a new dimension to that friendship in a way that maybe you never have. Largely, we don't have those conversations as white people because we're not comfortable with them. People of color are dealing with questions of race every single day. So it's on their minds. They have to think about it to survive and to thrive and to move through the world. It's our own uncomfortableness very often that gets in the way of having that deeper level of conversation. So for white people in particular, I would invite you to consider engaging in a conversation about race with a person of color. Let's see. I guess that's all I'll say about that, other than to know that it's really, in terms of otherness and deepening those friendships, that happens on both sides, right? As you start to look around at who's not being included, who's not a part of your inner sort of trusted circle, if you're a person of color, then it might be that there's a person, another sort of a different race that you could have that same kind of deepened conversation. If you're LGBTQI, and just as a review, lesbian, gay, bisexual, queer or questioning, and intersex. Some people maybe don't know what all those work for, but begin to entertain the notion about where it is you might be able to either deepen your understanding about that shade of otherness, learn more about it, or actually connect more deeply with a gay friend. And similarly, if you're LGBTQI, look around at the quality of your relationships with straight people. And can you begin to engage in a deeper way that's a little bit maybe more courageous or vulnerable? It might be that in my own experience, I know that that's been the case, that sometimes I have withheld a deeper connection and relationship because I wasn't ready to share. And I found that when I did, especially in a community like this, in a New Thought community, what I found was an overwhelming level of acceptance. So it works both ways. Whichever side of otherness you're on, I invite you to just step into a deeper conversation and a deeper level of vulnerability, and know and trust that the community that we're building and growing in is actually expanding and deepening as a result of our willingness to do that work. Okay, which brings us to question 3. And this again is out of Wendy Craig Purcell's book, Ask Yourself This. Will you stretch yourself to move to a capacity and a point of actually caring about someone that you might otherwise be tempted to leave out? This one I think is particularly interesting as it relates to question 2. As you think about, if you're a Democrat, do you have any really Republicans in your circle that you're willing to engage in connection, conversation with, even if it's not about politics? There's a way that we can get to know our otherness. If you're a Republican, how open are you with Democrats about other aspects and broader parts of your life and your believing and your feeling? That feels to me like the most divisive space. That feels to me like the most, where we have the most opportunity to right now to really start to build some bridges. And I want to share a writing from Ram Dass, who I think it was written, I don't even know. When was Caspar Weinberger's Secretary of Defense? Was that like in the 70s maybe? But just to show you that it's a timeless issue, you know, we've been dealing with this for a while. And this is the practice that he undertook to be able to sort of open his heart in a way that would help to build community in the way that I'm describing here. He writes, this is Ram Dass again. He writes, there was a time when my aggravation with the system focused on Caspar Weinberger, Secretary of Defense. I'm sure he was no worse than many others, but there was something about his cold arrogance and apparent lack of wisdom that infuriated me. See, any filters of judgment he might be holding there? So I got a picture of Caspar and placed it on my prayer table with all my spiritual heroes. Then each morning when I lit my incense and honored the beings represented on the table, I'd feel waves of love and appreciation toward my guru, Buddha, Christ, Anandamaya, Ramana Maharishi, and Hanuman. I'd wish them each good morning with such tenderness. Then I'd come to Caspar's picture and I'd feel my heart constrict. And I'd hear the coldness in my voice as I said, good morning, Caspar. Each morning I'd see what a long way I still had to go. But wasn't Caspar just another face of God? Couldn't I oppose his actions and still keep my heart open to him? Wouldn't it be harder for him to come free from the role he was obviously trapped in if I, with my mind, just kept reinforcing the traps by identifying him with his acts? The Indian poet Kabir said, quote, do what you do to another person, but never put them out of your heart. It's a tall order, but what else is there to do? Again, that's a reading from Ram Dass. So I invite you to think more deeply about where you can stretch. Who is it that you're holding outside your heart? And if in prayer, as our daily word so beautifully suggested this morning, we can call them to mind, hold them in light, to see the Christ, the divine, the God aspect of them, then what really begins to happen as we open ourselves to a much broader experience of that beloved community that we all aspire to. In Unity, we often say that what we're really about, sort of beyond our own personal transformation, what we're really about is creating a world that works for all. And while our own personal growth and transformation and all the work that we do around bringing a greater awareness to our own divinity, I believe the next level of that is actually moving into a space where we're bringing that level of consciousness to our awareness and our understanding and our connections with others. It's not just sort of what we're called to do. I believe it's actually part of our path. That's how we move to the next level of spiritual mastery, right? We take it beyond what we're knowing about ourselves to be true, and we're actually experiencing it and sharing it in the world in a much deeper and a much greater way. So I'll sort of wrap up and close by reiterating the 3 questions that I've asked you to think about as you move out of this week and maybe even beyond that into your wider life. First, will you practice drawing your circle wider? Second, are you willing to look at who's missing from your circle? And third, will you stretch yourself to move to a space where you can open your heart to those you might otherwise be tempted to leave out? Let's now prepare for a time of meditation and reflection on these ideas. David will prepare us.
So get comfortable. I surrender to my greatest, highest good and release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let loving be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and true and free. As I continue moving in this mystery, where I surrender to my greatest, highest good, and release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. I am stronger every moment, every day. I'm stronger every moment, every day.
We invite you to rest in that awareness of this increasing strength and capacity you have to be strength. David so beautifully sang about. Breathe in and feel the vitality of being alive. Breathe out. Know that you breathe out with a strength that will inspire and uplift those around you. It's in these quiet times of reflection when we're most connected to the power of the divine to transform and inspire us. And so this morning, as we review these beautiful questions about how we can move more fully into that space of beloved community, supporting the creation of a world that works for all. We recognize that the awareness that we bring to our spiritual work, to our relationships, is the key to really deepening our connection to others. It's the key for being more present in our relationships so that those communities where we invest our energies, where we experience support, and where we build trust can continue to grow and expand in ways that bless our own journey and in ways that truly bring about a greater degree of love for the planet and the world. So I invite you now to rest in a moment of silence. And as you do, hold the affirmation that my love and strength bless the world. Use that affirmation as a mantra for your quiet reflection. My love and strength bless the world. As we rest in a moment of silence. Invite you now to gently return your attention to the sounds and the sights and the sensations around you and within you. And to know that there is an incredible capacity of support that we experience being in spiritual community. And we're so grateful for each and every person who crosses our path here at Unity on the North Shore, and for the many ways in which that support allows us to be the light and love of God in the other communities with whom we connect. So it is, and so we let it be. Amen. 1. Hey, thanks for watching this YouTube video. If Unity's message of positive spiritual living resonates with you, I hope you'll subscribe to our channel so you can stay up to date on other lessons as we post them. Also, if you're able to support us financially in the work that we do in the world, please check below for contact information. You can visit our website, find more about what programming we offer, as well as how to give. Blessings. So this is the time in our service when we make space and time to receive offerings. We do this virtually, and we try and make it easy and provide a number of venues through which you're able to support the ministries of Unity on the North Shore. Let's see, in a moment there'll be a slide that will show you. This is actually one that I would really highly encourage you to go ahead and open an account with. If you have a smartphone, this text to give feature is amazing. And as we've begun to contemplate how we might get together with safe distancing and at church on the lawn. It would be an outside kind of event, but we also don't want to be for any offerings that we receive by texting to give. We can do that hands-free, and it's a much safer way to do it. So I would invite you, if you haven't already, to set up a text to give account. All you do is text that word give to the number on the screen, 815-827-6052. The first time through, you'll enter in a credit card number and some contact information. But from then on, all you do is text to give to that number that will be stored in your phone. And it's a pretty like two-step process. You type in the amount and confirmation, and it's there. So that really is a beautiful way to make sure that we're giving safely and that we're supporting the ministry in a wonderful way. And of course, you can also log on to the website. There's a button at the top of every page that says donate. The website is unityns.org, and there are a number of different payment processes that you can choose from, whatever is most convenient for you to make an online donation. And of course, we do get into the office about once a week to check the mail. So you can send a paper check to 3434 Central Street in Evanston, Illinois. In Unity, we know that our capacity to give, our willingness to give, is actually a channel through which the universe returns that good to us. And so to be a part of that flow, we give generously, and we hold an energy of abundance and a consciousness of prosperity. So with that in mind, I invite you to join me in speaking aloud. Even though you can't hear it over to the virtual thing, we can speak it into the universe, our prosperity declaration. Together, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? Given the chance, I'm gonna tell you now. How many ways can I give thanks for the blessings I have known? I've got a list and I will tell you how. Grateful for each breath awake, grateful for each step I take, grateful that I'm here to play my part. Grateful for the morning sun, grateful when the day is done, grateful that I have you in my heart. How many ways can I give praises for all the gifts I have? Given the chance, I'm gonna shout out loud. Grateful for the universe, for the better and the worse. Grateful that this world keeps spinning round somehow. Grateful for my memories, grateful for my hopes and dreams, grateful for these moments I have found. How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? You could sing that with me. How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? I'm grateful now. I'm grateful now. I'm grateful now. I'm grateful now.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. The light of spirit has been your light of spirit has been such a huge blessing to us this morning. Thank you. Thank you. If you haven't already told us, where can we find more of your music?
Well, I very cleverly changed my name on the screen to my website,
Okay.
which is davidrothmusic.com.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you so much. We just have a few announcements. So we also want you to know that licensed Unity teacher Candace Lucas has just started her mindfulness and meditation class. Now more than ever, it's important to have a solid prayer and meditation practice that works for you. You know, each of the next 4 weeks, Candace will introduce new techniques and create space for you to experience each. And at the end of the class, you'll have a clear understanding of what practices serve your sense of inner peace and well-being the best way. Check the website for more details and to register. The link is also being posted in the chat stream. Next up, our Youth Blessing with Youth and Family Ministry Director, Kate Jordan. Kate.
Good morning, Unity family. So blessed to see all of you today. Oh man, we are having the best time in Summer Cool. Today, we were blessed by the presence of Dina Stewart, who is teaching us about 7-point art. Starting with 7 just dots on a piece of paper, you would not believe the amazing art that our young people were creating. I did pretty good myself, if I have to say so. We had a fantastic time, and we thank Dina for her leadership and for reminding us how important art is, how healing, how energizing, and just how fun. We had a great time today. Next week, I'm taking the helm at Summer Cool, and we'll be doing a fun with American Sign Language. So we're going to be learning some ASL, putting some songs together using ASL, and it's going to be a terrific time. So remember to go to the website if you haven't logged in yet. As a Summer Cool participant, you can go there and register. We start at 9:15 a.m. and the room opens up at 9 if you want to say hi to friends. So we'd love to see you there. We are thinking about all of our children and teens wherever they are, whether they're in town, whether they're out of town with parents. We are thinking about all of them. And so let's take a minute now to bless them with our usual youth blessing that we do, in which we just surround them with all of our love. Here it comes. Let's say that together. Children and teens, we love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. We behold the Christ as you, and we see you doing great things. And so it is.
Thank you, Kate.
Actually, Bruce, do you mind if I jump in? There are a couple of developments I wanted to share, so
Yeah,
I'll
go
do
ahead.
that. Thanks. Sorry. Yeah, thank you, Kate. Let's see. The first is I mentioned earlier that we're talking about an event that would be on the lawn, safe distance, wearing masks, all that stuff. There'll be more details about it now. But what we're looking at is a movie night on Friday, August 14th. will be limited to about 50 people, so there will be advanced registration, and there'll be more instructions about what that looks like and what the movie will be. For now, if there's anyone that anyone who's on right now, if you would put in the chat stream, if you would be willing to kind of help with the logistics of that. We've got some recommendations from Dr. David Baker about how to make sure that we're aligned with the best practices, the safest practices possible. And so we'll be following those, and we could use a team of, I don't know, 5 or 6 people to just put that all together on the 14th there. Also, just want you to be aware that Reverend Christina is not with us today. You may remember that we've talked about this wonderful proposal that we have introduced at Unity of Oak Park, whereby Unity on the North Shore would kind of provide ministerial support and circumstances, sort of as an alternative model to them hiring a full-time minister. So Reverend Christina is there today. She and our board president, June Lash, are making a presentation to the broader congregation as they discern whether they want to do this new kind of ministry, or if they want to work with us on this collaboration, this wonderful cooperative. So we've talked about that at a town hall meeting. I know a lot of people maybe weren't able to attend. Want you to know that on August 2nd, so that's next Sunday, a week from today, after service, we're going to be having another town hall. The board wants to make sure that we're communicating about a number of things. First, our current financial position, how sequestering has affected that and what it looks like going forward. Second, this Reverend Christina, a little bit more definition around this proposal that we're making at Oak Park. And thirdly, I can't think what the third thing is, and I didn't write it down. Well, it'll be the surprise agenda item, but you'll want to join us on August 2nd. It'll be after service. Haven't talked yet. We don't know. There might be a short little garden chat that we'll have before we begin the service, but would really encourage you to come back and be a part of that town hall meeting. There's some really good information we need to talk about. Oh, I know what it is. The Right and Perfect Home Initiative. Remember, we had started that way back before COVID, and we had raised money and we had hired a consulting firm. We're re-engaging that process, and we want to update you about what the current status is. So it's Right and Perfect Home. It's what the collaboration, the cooperative thing that we're proposing at Unity of Oak Park, and it's our current financial state. So all those topics will be covered next week after service at a virtual town hall. So that's it. That's all I'm going to share at this point. David, thank you so much for joining us, and you got a special song to take us out, I understand.
Yeah, thank you all. And I saw a few quick comments in the chat saying hello to me, Kate, and some others. Thank you. I'll save the chat and look at it later, and maybe I'll join you guys for a cup of coffee after the service, such as it is, you know. Great pleasure to be here. I stand for love, I stand for peace, I stand for joy and for release, for what is beautiful and true. I stand for hope, I stand for you, I stand for love, I stand for peace, I stand for joy and for release, for what is beautiful and true. I stand for hope, I stand for you. You know our world is in great pain, she needs our loving care again. But there are those who fail to see what we have done and what we need. There is a cost for every act, and now there is no turning back. We burn a bridge, we bang a drum. It's time to rise. The time has come to stand for love, to stand for peace, to stand for joy and for release, for what is beautiful and true. To stand for hope, to stand for you. And if you're thinking it's not urgent, that we've got more time to kill, if I'm not the one who will change things, then for heaven's sake, who will? So I will move, I will climb this mountain one step at a time. I won't be swayed, I will not stop until we've made it to the top, where we will stand for love and peace. We'll stand for joy and for release, for what is beautiful and true. We'll stand for hope, we'll stand for you, for what is beautiful and true. I stand for hope, I stand for you.
Thank you so much, David. And now let us join together in saying the prayer of protection. The words will be on your screen. Together, the light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. And happy Sunday, everyone. That is our service, and stay tuned for everybody be able to greet each other in the garden chat, which starts right now. Don't go anywhere. Stay right there.
We are starting to unmute you, so hang in.
Hey.
Yay!
There's Yvonne. All right. Might even be able to unmute yourself.
You are now at the point where you can unmute yourself. So go ahead and hit your unmute if you're still muted. Hey,
Happy
Steve!
Sunday, everyone.
Hi, everybody. It's Sunday.
Happy Sunday, Steve
Are
and
we doing the chat now?
Rose.
That's going for the talk after church. About what? Nothing.
I heard Vivian talking.
I can't see
Look,
you.
man, she in the house, huh?
Is that even?
Uh-huh.
Hi,
She's
Rose.
every Sunday.
Go ahead and unmute yourself,
I
Bruce,
like
if
your
you want.
hair.
Dolores.
I just got out of the shower. It's still wet. Thank you.
Hi,
Thank
Barbara.
for that.
I got
You look elegant today.
Can I take care? You want to continue?
I thought we were listening in. And how come they don't show you? Like, we can't. Can we see?
Kurt, Priscilla.
Yeah, turn on your cameras if you like, people, so we can see your beautiful faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sit down.
Hi, Vivian.
Hi, Olga.
Hi, Vivian.
Hi, Yvonne. That was Priscilla. Oh, hi, Priscilla.
Hi, Vivian.
Are you counting the days?
There she is. I see your head in a little corner of your rectangle there.
You can't go there. They say,
Hi,
Here I am.
To Bruce
There you are.
there. Nancy.
Hi, Kate. Bye.
There's such beautiful music today, Dave.
Rose.
David, thank you
yeah,
so
David.
much.
Great. It was so good to hear you.
Rose.
They heard what we were saying.
You have a direct wire.
David, is your last song on music we can download?
Yeah, I'm, let me see if I'm unmuted here. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
on all the social network things. It's called I Stand for Love. It's
Oh,
from
I thought you had on mute.
my 11th album.
And the album is called Rhubarb Trees, that I did with my friend Ann Hills, who's an incredible singer who used to go around touring with Tom Paxton and serious folk music credentials, and she's one of my dear friends. So we did that on that song, which I wrote. I wrote in Wisconsin in 2007, right after hearing a speech by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who was an environmental activist attorney, and had just come out with a book called Crimes Against Nature, detailing corporate greed and short-term profit versus long-term sustainability.
That's a gorgeous song. So if we go to davidrothmusic.com,
you'll find more information than you ever want.
Well, I'm looking forward to downloading that song.
If you have any trouble, just write me an email, davidrothmusic@gmail.com. So that's my Gmail address.
I am proud to be an owner of many David Roth CDs. So
You're
I
the
play
one.
them all the time. Thank you, David.
There
are many.
I think I have all of them. I do.
Well, since I saw you guys in person in last fall, my 15th came out. I recorded for a label in Germany, and I've got 4 CDs that I recorded over there, and they all also are made into LPs. So I've got 4 contemporary albums.
Wow.
When I would put them on my CD table, people like us would say, "What are you doing selling calendars?"
Yeah. Well, then I have some catching up to do with the new ones. So I'll have to get on that.
Make a special delivery in person next year.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Was a lovely message, Kurt.
Yes.
Priscilla?
Widen our world. Widen everything.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hey, did anybody use the private chat?
Yes.
Yeah, I do every Sunday.
We talked to everybody today. Thanks.
All
What kind of people said hi? I couldn't even keep up. I felt guilty though. It's like, like you said, like the teacher gave us permission to pass notes.
That was actually fun.
Now I'm wondering if it would be more fun if you didn't have permission.
Oh, yeah.
As long as you don't have a ruler to hit our hands with, I think I'm okay.
Oh, Lord. Please.
Hi.
Hi,
Mama. Hi, Georgia. Can you say hi to Cece?
Look how big.
Hi, Georgia. Sarah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep. Everyone can hear you.
Great.
You can go ahead, Mom.
Oh, would you like me to? Okay, great. All right. So today is actually in honor of Olga. Because, let's see if you can see this.
Tomato list.
All right, can you see now what we got here?
Oh, look at that.
I did 3 different soups, a no tomato gazpacho. Who in this group knows where gazpacho was first originated? What do you think?
Italy.
Spain?
Spain.
Yes, exactly. Andalusia. It's an independent area of Spain in the south. And it's had Roman influence and Greek and Phoenician and Arab and Jewish influence. And that's very much reflected in the cuisine, of course. So gazpacho is from that tradition. And it usually has bread that's soaked in with the vegetables, which would be little green pepper, cucumber. This is a Persian cucumber. They're smaller and sweeter than the big ones, and I suggest you use it because then you don't have to peel it. It's great. Olive oil, Trader Joe's olive oil, and garlic is really important to this. I did not make the recipe for you with the soaked bread because that makes it non-gluten free. It also makes it kind of stodgy and thick, and I like it a little bit more light. It's very hot now, so why are we making things hot? So this is a no-cook recipe as well. So you just chop it all together and serve it with a bit of basil. You can see here, I like a little bit of marjoram. That's what's on top. And then I did do croutons on the top as just a garnish. You could do gluten-free. You can add tomatoes to this and then make it a regular gazpacho if you like. Key to this is also the Turkish influence of Andalusia. It has almonds in it, ground almonds. If you like it more smooth, then just puree it. But I'd like it chopped and a little bit rustico. Sarah is also sending you a creamed beet soup. I think some of you might call it a borscht. What's interesting about this one is it uses buttermilk, which makes it a little bit different. And then Yvonne, you asked about a fruit soup. You said 2 savories, 1 fruit. Avocado, ladies and gentlemen, is actually a fruit. So I did a corn soup with coconut and avocado and a little bit of lime. And by the way, that's what's the key to this. Can you see all that? I love this from Trader Joe's. This is like $3. It's chili lime. It brightens up anything, including gazpacho, and that coconut corn soup with avocado. Just put a little sprinkle on this. It's a little bit spicy, but not hot. It's just been the greatest addition to summer cooking for me, or non-cooking, because this is non-cooking. For next week, I'd like your opinion on this. I'm thinking about doing frozen treats. Fruit popsicles, coconut milk popsicles, and read between the lines, adult popsicles. So we'll do adult frozen. I will fill in the blank as to what that means. If you think that's a good idea, because the weather's going to be hot this week too, I'll make them in different shapes and I'll do 3-4 recipes on that. What do you think about that idea?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll do frozen treats, both for children and adults. So that's this week. And Olga, again, this is in honor of you. It's a tomato list. All the recipes this week are tomato list. There you go.
Yay, thank you.
Sarah, what's your question?
Good job, Mom.
Thank you, Dawn.
Georgia got, oh, thank you. Georgia got excited about frozen treats.
Yay. Okay, Georgia. We'll experiment on you with the recipes this week. Okay.
I love the part about expanding circles today. So I wanted to ask if anyone has noticed that their circles have expanded in any shape or form before today's lesson. Obviously, if they've noticed that there's a shift in our immediate circle, like in what ways. So I thought we would kind of talk about that. If anybody had any thoughts or ideas about that. Like my circle has totally expanded over quarantine and over what we've all been experiencing in the last couple months.
So how does that work, Sarah? Because you can't be in other people's presence. How have you expanded your circle?
That would be connecting more with any neighbor that we might have not met since moving here a year ago. So anyone who's in the neighborhood, I've connected. What, Mom?
Like virtually?
Or waving to people that I normally would not see.
Okay.
We've been hanging around outside a lot in front of our building, so we see a lot of neighbors, and we've been connecting with people virtually, obviously. So through my own social media, and then through just like communicating via email more with other folks. So I've just been talking to people I wouldn't normally talk to as often. What else have we been doing? Oh, I've had a lot of conversations revolving like the any of the protests, anything political. So I've actually been less afraid to have kind of tough conversations with folks who don't agree with me. So I've learned a little lesson in like standing my ground, but being open and listening to learn something at the end. So these like really fulfilling conversations with folks who, like I said, don't necessarily agree. A friend of mine was getting bullied online by someone who was criticizing her for speaking about Black Lives Matter. And he clearly is not for it. And it created a whole chain of messages back and forth. And I stepped in when normally like I might not have in regarding this topic. So I'm coming out of my shell or comfort zone and expanding those conversations. And I feel like that is considered expanding my circle as well. Because I've had now these tough conversations about politics and such many times since then. So just being a little bit more bold with my voice, not just with folks who agree with me, but in the arena that I feel like I don't belong because they do not agree with me.
Facebook has offered a lot of opportunity to do that too. I found myself being able to support others and put forth some of my own thoughts about things too, and just feeling like we're we're kind of bridging gaps a bit through that.
Well, I like the idea of including somebody in my prayer and meditation time that I am really, who I've really been angry at, and that's our leader, our president. And I always talk to a friend of mine who is a very
Okie dokie. Well, I'm now on the chat looking at these people now.
We hear you, Lisa.
Oh, hello. How are you?
We're enjoying the conversation, just saying.
Excuse me, let me be quiet.
Olga, continue.
No, but the bottom line is that a friend of mine who is a very conservative person, and is always trying to save my soul almost every single time we talk, and I still have been connected with her, but she has always told me, Olga, I pray for that person, even though she supports him. But she said she prays for the person. She doesn't rant and rave. And I've been kind of stuck in this ranting and raving and being so upset. And I know that does not help me. Does not help me in my well-being. So to actually put a picture, now that was so interesting when Kurt said that.
I agree.
Person on, when I'm praying for people, when I'm praying for the world and for people I love, to put someone there who I really have a real, almost, a big aversion to put that picture there and just start simply like saying hello, or just a very simple, not forcing it, but just acknowledging that God is within that person too. That is really powerful. So I am certainly going to try it.
Olga, that's just as powerful. To me, that's just like so bold. When Kurt talked about that, and I have the same issue with the president, I don't know how I can do that. I just get a lump in my throat even thinking about it, much less doing it, all right? And yet, I do know in my heart of hearts it's the right thing to do. It's the healing thing to do, both for that person and for all of us and for me, right? It's a big reach.
It's monstrous.
Thank you for saying that. It's monstrous because to me, that person is a monster. So it's all of the same piece. I have a friend who sends me this vitriolic stuff quite often about her political views, and she's very conservative, and she does not stop. And it has divided us as friends, and I've known her for decades. I just shut it down. I don't even bother to respond. I think with what Curtis said, I am going to open that up. And you might say, well, how do I even know? I can tell by the subject line what it is, right? I dare not even open it. I don't want it in my brain. I don't want it in my heart all day. I think I need to be braver to just look at what that is. And as Sarah, you have said, use my voice to challenge it, but in a loving way, because I do love this woman. I've known her for so long. It is difficult. So yeah, thank you.
We have to go now. It's great to see you all. Bless you.
Bless you too.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jane. And thanks for your comments in the chat stream.
Thanks, Reverend Kurt. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks for talking about your COVID situation too, Reverend Kurt. I just wanted to.
Me too.
To mention that before Jean left. Thanks.
I think it's true what you said too, Kurt, about like when you know somebody that's closer to you, it does make the whole situation much more real.
Yes.
It was like a bit of a scare for us, and even that was like, it put a lot of things. I was thinking, wow, where have I gone wrong? Like, am I getting too lax myself if I allowed the children to be too lax? Like, it made me like reassess when and where I'm using masks, how often am I using sanitizer, and am I being as careful as possible? It does. It like puts it into perspective. And it does make me shake my head a little bit at folks who do not believe that it is real in general. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. It was like very personal, so I appreciate it. It hit home for us for sure. And we're glad you're feeling better.
May everyone stay well, stay safe, and stay blessed.
Thank
you,
Dolores.
Thank you, Dolores.
Yeah, I also want to connect the dots between that discussion about COVID and praying for our leadership and, you know, putting that picture up, which I think is a great idea, and something that I actually do with in relationships that are strained, you know, because you really, if you're thinking we're all one and all the truth about that other person, it's hard to have all that animosity. And we're all trying to figure out who is this new, not that it's deep and true and we know what the motives are, but what's coming out of his mouth is 180 degrees because lots of people are out there doing this, I believe. So, you know, hey, whatever works, you know, to get us through till the end of the year.
Might be, well, okay, we'll leave that at that, Yvonne. Yes, thank you. I get it.
I just stopped looking at news. I read the news because I can control it, but I don't look at all the TV or the radio because it'll just send me. And then I guess I kind of counter it. Instead of praying against him, I just pray that Ruth Ginsburg will hold on and all the powers that need to be to provide balance. That's what I'm praying for right now.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can influence, you know, what goes on between now and the end of the year. Could be pretty
absolutely
positive and amazing.
And I think you can do that with voter registration. I mean, you could just do the app. You can encourage people to do a mail-in ballot and to do the mail-in, to go on and send in for the ballot. And all they got to do.
It's so easy, really so easy.
It is. It takes like, it's an app to make sure your address is correct and register.
I couldn't believe how straightforward it was.
Lisa, I really like what you said. I remember for years I read Abraham Hicks, and the whole focus was to pray for what you want rather than focus on what you don't want. And I love that angle because it doesn't, you know, you're not focused on negativity. You're focusing on the good for all, or the good for this country, or the good for yourself. So thank you. That's a really good piece of advice. Thank you.
Yeah, and make sure all of you filled out the census, because that shows you what resources come into the community to get your fair share.
Everything counts.
And talking to those who you know who may not have filled out the census.
Yes. Hi, Ruth.
Hi, Olga. Everyone.
I just see you quietly there, and your presence is very soothing. Thank you.
Oh.
Are you hiking a lot, Ruth?
Not so much. We've been bicycling. We've been waiting till evening and going out in the dark because the temperature is so much lower. But that limits us to only a 15-mile ride because of the battery.
Only 15 miles?
15 miles.
Yeah.
I did 9 the other day and I could not walk for like 4 days after. Oh my God.
You have to build up to it. And so I'm still building up. I'm up to 25, but not consistently. Normally this
25 in a week, 25 in a month. I was just wondering.
in a day. Normally we're at 50 this time of year. So.
Oh my goodness.
My God. That's fantastic. Superwoman.
You are. Gosh.
Oh, not really.
I'm trying for 5 feet of being able to walk. I don't know whether you.
Oh, yeah, I read your message.
Yeah.
Sure.
What happened, Yvonne? What happened?
I have just been doing a little thing, and somehow they think that I've torn up. I didn't have an accident or fall or anything, but but I'm making progress. I can walk 5 steps without the walker and cane.
Wow. That's great.
I have a suggestion. If people are up early, like before anyone else, like that's when I exercise, is before like most people are outside. And the Metra train like stairs, or the L stairs, if they're exposed outside, those are like a great way to, so I run up and down them. I'm thousand. If you can walk up and down them a few times, for anybody who wants something different than just to walk around the neighborhood, no one is around in the morning. So I live off of the Main Street Metra and the L. And so I use those stairs like a crazy person, just up and down and up and down. So that's a kind of a fun way if you're just kind of need to move around, but don't necessarily.
And if you have good knees, Sarah.
Yeah.
Not everybody has the knees for that.
We can go slow. Everybody can go slow. Take as much time.
You build up to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We admire your zest, Sarah.
Oh,
You're very good. You've done
I've had
well,
to
Sarah.
tune into that.
Your zest and your zeal.
Hi, everybody. Good week.
Good week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. You too.
Yes. Lovely seeing all of you. Thank you. Beautiful service, Kurt. I'm
very nice.
Important
Yeah.
Wonderful, heartfelt.
Thank you so much.
And practical. Thank you.
Oh, and Sharon, thank you. Those are amazing. I don't know how many we actually have recorded, but I think we ought to do the garden chat recipes as a separate little video.
Oh, and Kurt, what about for a fundraiser, having those recipes, if Sharon's in agreement, as a fundraiser, because I know other Christians, they do that. That's just thing for the future in case you want to do that.
Yeah, thank you, Olga. And of course, it's all created for you. Christina has talked about doing a little bit more of like a YouTube series as well. And then linking that to donations to the church as one part of talent. Meditation practice would be another. What Ann Baker offers in healing could be another. There could be a whole series of these. So yeah, I'm open to any format. I had a meeting with her in her garden. It was really nice to be at someone else's presence during COVID, but far enough away. And we talked about these kind of things for 2 hours. It just flew by. So yeah, that's kind of in the works. Thank you. She's thinking about doing something with this, and she's got a gentleman, Parker, who might be able to teach others through our church to do that. So great. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Glad to do it.
Yeah, love to have you.
Yeah, I enjoy doing it.
It's sort of what used to be the soul school model, where people with individual talents could share them online. So.
Well, we have so much, Yvonne. We have so many people who just do that time, talent, and treasure. So it would be lovely to expand that way.
Thank you.
It's what Kurt talked about. Expand our circle.
Yep.
Olga, you can do a yoga. You can do a yoga series.
A grounded yoga outside in your lovely garden.
There you go.
I tell you, today I listened to a small clip from Harvard. Harvard University is so progressive in so many ways, and they have a whole meditation yoga kind of emphasis in one department, and alternative medicine. And they had a very comprehensive talk with different people, different professors on the benefits of yoga and meditation and how it changes the brain and what it does to your immune system and what it does to all your energy fields. Oh my God, it was so good. So it's just as a health, even the simplest yoga, if you do it every day, does so much for you. So anyway.
Yeah.
Olga, if you can send a link to Kate, let Kate send it to everybody, that could be great.
Sure, I will look it up again because it was
Really?
so fabulous, fabulous.
You just gave the introduction to your yoga series.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you. I'd be happy to do that.
Olga, could you send that link to Candace? Because that's really relevant that she's
Oh, good
teaching
point,
right now.
Ruth, for her class. Yeah.
I will do that. Thank you for asking. I put a big star here so I can do that. I will do that. I'll look it up as soon as we're through.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Have a good day,
Yeah,
everybody.
I'm out of here. I
Bye-bye.
gotta beginning to walk.
Nice to see you,
Lisa.
Yvonne. So miss you in person. I don't want Zoom to end because I love seeing your face every week.
Yeah, don't let it end either. This is a highlight of
Bye. Bye, Georgia B.
Okay. Bye. Bye-bye, honey.
Bye-bye.
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 See you later.
Later.
Hey, thanks for watching this YouTube video. If Unity's message of positive spiritual living resonates with you, I hope you'll subscribe to our channel so you can stay up to date on other lessons as we post them. Also, if you're able to support us financially in the work that we do in the world, please check below for contact information. You can visit our website, find more about what programming we offer, as well as how to give. Blessings.